Hey, what's going on, guys? So today's topic is the handstand push-up. Cue epic intro. Alright, that's enough. Alright, I'm not gonna lie, the handstand push-up is a difficult movement as it involves both strength and balance. But once you master the movement, this exercise will build incredible shoulder strength. And since everyone knows that it's hard, you'll be very cool and very popular. Don't worry. So the handstand push-up is basically like a regular push-up, but your body's inverted, which makes it a lot more difficult. And unlike the regular push-up where your chest is the main muscle that's engaged, the handstand push-up, as you guys probably already know, is your shoulders. Okay, what's this guy doing? Stop dancing. So first, I'll go over the technique for this exercise. There's definitely some things you always want to keep in mind when doing this, because I've seen a lot of people doing it wrong. They either don't do it with the proper form, which you are prone to more injuries, or they don't go through the full range of motion or the right range of motion, so you won't get the full benefit of this exercise. So that's why I'll go over the common mistakes later in this video, but for now, I'll be breaking down the technique. Cue epic technique intro. When starting the handstand push-up, you want to place your hands either shoulder width apart or a little more than shoulder width apart. Then kick up and find your balance so you can go down controlled. You want to make sure your elbows don't flare out and keep them as tucked as possible. Once you reach the ground, you should be in a straight body alignment by keeping your core and legs tight. Then press up and return to the starting position. Not too bad, right? Don't get me wrong, this is a very hard movement, so if you don't get it the first time around, that is completely normal. Don't let it discourage you. When I first started training, I practiced a handstand every single day at the same time of trying to work on the strength part of my workouts. So what I'm trying to say is, it takes time, it takes patience, it takes hard work, but if you put in the work, I have no doubt that you'll be able to do this movement. It is all up to you. Wow, that was motivating stuff right there. Motivator! So there are some common mistakes I want to go over before jumping into the progressions. The first one is the banana back. This is probably the most popular common mistake that people tend to make, and it's because they are in an interior pelvic tilt instead of a posterior pelvic tilt, or PPT. Starkwood Chiropractic explains it very well. The anterior pelvic tilt is where your pelvis tilts forward, creating that arch in your spine. The posterior pelvic tilt is where your pelvis tilts backwards, so your spine is in a neutral, flat position. So make sure to follow the latter. The next common mistake is having your elbows flared out. This will cause shoulder pain and doesn't necessarily help you achieve your goal of doing the handstand push-up. So keep your elbows tucked in so you can train with the proper technique and create that forward lean when descending from a handstand push-up. Now let's move on to the progressions. I'll start with the easiest one, which might still be difficult for beginners. It's the pike push-up. If you're not able to do this progression just yet, start on your knees, as this will make it much easier. Pike push-ups are one of those main exercises for shoulder strength and calisthenics, and it's a perfect prerequisite for the handstand push-up. Yes, military presses and dumbbell shoulder presses builds shoulder strength, but the pike push-up is a lot more beneficial for the handstand push-up. It's all about specificity. Practicing in that same motion with your body inverted will help your muscles and your body get familiar with the motion. The next progression is an elevated pike push-up. When your feet are elevated off the ground, the shift in your body weight moves more towards your shoulders, making the movement a lot more difficult. Although I jumped to a 12-inch elevated surface, you can start lower and work your way up. The next progression is the wall-assisted handstand push-up. This is the last progression for the handstand push-up, as it is the most difficult. The wall assists you from falling back down until you've built adequate balance, then you can move on to freestanding. Don't forget that this movement has two components, one being strength and the other being balance. Once you've built the strength to do the handstand push-up, oftentimes the balance is the problem. That's why you need to be able to hold a handstand before you can do the handstand push-up. Okay, so those are the three main progressions for the handstand push-up. But what now? What if you still can't do it? Well, there's some other exercises you can do besides these progressions. The first one is handstand push-up holds. This will familiarize your body and muscles what it's supposed to feel like on the bottom position of the handstand push-up. You should also focus on keeping your body straight here, like we went over in the technique section earlier in this video. If you're in a relaxed position, you won't be able to create that straight line with your body, so make sure to activate your core and flex your legs. The second additional exercise is the handstand push-up negatives. This will help your balance since you'll need to focus on coming down in a controlled manner. Of course, if you can contract and push back up, you've completed the handstand push-up. But if not, you can practice these negatives until you do. Okay, that pretty much sums it up for all the exercises and progressions that you need to work up to a handstand push-up. I want to reiterate, make sure to follow the technique and avoid all of those common mistakes I went over earlier in this video. It's important that you don't get hurt while doing this exercise. Also, you don't want to get stuck on a single progression for too long. Even if it's moving up to a 1-inch elevated pike push-up, you want to do that. You want to increase intensity so you can get stronger and move on to harder and harder progressions. Alright guys, that pretty much sums it up for this video. If you like this video, make sure to hit that like and subscribe button. And as always, if you have any questions, let me know down in the comments or hit us up on Instagram. Thank you guys. Peace.